Good morning, you guys. So today I was super inspired. I was watching a YouTube video from Brian Scott, and he was going over the work of Dr. Joseph Murphy, and I just got so excited to share some of that stuff because it's so aligned with so much of what I do, what I preach. For anyone who's watched past videos, I live my life by three arrows. Three arrows. It's the three S's: silence, stillness, solitude. And these are all very key things that we need to be cultivating if we want to live happy lives. So who doesn't? Who doesn't? We do. But we don't prime ourselves for that. We don't create that internal structure, that internal environment that facilitates that kind of life. And we're talking wealth, we're talking health, we're talking absolute joy, happiness, fulfillment, living a life of meaning and living a life of purpose and passion. Most of us are on such autopilot that we don't even pause to think about what we're doing, what we want to be doing, how we can be shifting gears. Most of us are living such lives that are filled with disappointment, resentment, anger. We see so much of that right now, don't we? That's not where solutions come from, nor is that where creativity or inspiration come from. I'll give you guys an example, actually, because all the great thinkers, inventors knew this. I forget if it was Einstein or Edison, but oftentimes if they were working on a problem and then they didn't know what the solution was, they would actually take a nap. Take a nap. They would turn off the thinking mind. They would take a nap and holding, I think it was like spoons or something that would, when falling, make a loud sound. Okay? Holding that. So that moment where they would kind of shift into like pre falling asleep. So just to review brainwaves real quick. Beta, you're alert. I mean, this is an oversimplification, but beta, you're alert. Alpha, it's alert, but like flow, like steady, calm, very meditative. Theta, you're shifting into subconscious. Delta, you're knocked out, you're sleeping. Huge oversimplification, but that's not the point. When you're shifting from a conscious, alert, awakened state, you're moving from beta down into delta, right? But you're also shifting from conscious into subconscious. And subconscious, your subconscious actually has all the answers that you need, right? Because it's constantly working through all the prompts. And it's actually, believe it or not, constantly feeding you those answers and responses, but we're not quiet enough to hear it. We're not quiet enough to listen to it. Guys, we waste so much energy trying to like do things consciously with action. Okay. Meanwhile, it's only really accounting for 5 to 10% of what we're actually capable of, and yet that's where we put all our focus. Now, imagine you access all of those resources in your subconscious. You have to learn to quiet the mind to do that, and this is what these guys would do. They would lay down, take a nap, and this is a skill that I personally haven't perfected because I don't know how to nap. My girlfriend's been teaching me. She's a great napper. She loves it. I love her for it. She knows how to actually do that. There's a lot of different ways to do it. Me personally, I use different meditation techniques for that purpose. But they would allow themselves to kind of start to drift off. But that moment when they're about to really fully go into slumber, obviously their body relaxes, their hand opens, spoons or whatever they're holding falls to the ground, and they wake up. And suddenly, inspiration, creativity, suddenly the answers came to them. Okay? I mean, I think he wrote his theory of relativity, Einstein did, um, after one of these sleep sessions, right? Or, for example, there's also a lot of thinkers who just, when they're working on a problem, they would go for walks. They would go for very long strolls. And that actually kind of, again, puts you into the state where you're just kind of like deactivating the thinking mind and just allowing the subconscious to work. And then suddenly ideas are coming. And tell me if you don't know this for yourselves when you're in the shower, for example, and suddenly solutions present themselves. Because again, you're just in this state of non thought. Okay, but there's ways to truly work on and practice this deliberately. Okay, I'll give you guys a few quotes. One, Confucius. The superior man is always calm and quiet. Confucius. Isaiah 30:15. And quietness and confidence shall be your strength. And then my boy Emerson, let us, what was it? Let us be silent that we may hear the voices of the gods. How beautiful is that? I mean, the guy's poetic, but it's in silence, right? It's in cultivating silence because that's where your subconscious lies. That's where all the answers present themselves. And believe it or not, people who can actually get themselves deliberately into like a theta or even a delta state also experience a tremendous amount of physical healing. You know, and this is a whole other subject that I'd love to dive into, and I probably will. I will. But for that, you know, you reference the works of like Dr. Bruce Lipton or Joe Dispenza, you know, or Dawson Church. Just no, yeah, Dawson Church. These guys will talk about the power of the mind and the body and the body's own capacity to heal itself, to produce its own pharmaceuticals, you know, to do what it needs to get itself back into harmony. And that's what we're doing when we're not engaging in silence and stillness and solitude. We are not creating an environment conducive for harmony. And that is something we need to work on an individual level, because now to take things into a more sort of social dimension. Collectively, if we could do that internally, guess what? We create internal harmony and then that extends outward. So we learn to suddenly start to engage one another differently. We're creating harmony on a macro level. So stillness is a key principle to a good life. Okay. A lot of people, for example, also tend to place a lot of focus on their problems. And that's really depriving you of your resources. Because the brain, for example, when you're just trying to constantly focus on the problem itself, you're limiting the brain's capacity to utilize its full resources, right? You're not getting connections between all the different parts of the brain. You're not getting blood flow into all the different parts of the brain. You're actually encouraging the activation of, you know, like places that are responsible for triggering a chronic and incessant release of stress hormones. And you also deactivate things like your prefrontal cortex, which allows for, you know, higher level thinking, you know, that executive functioning that we need to make really sound decisions. So there's a lot of different components here, but it really does come down to just like learning how to train yourself to create a quiet environment for your mind. And honestly, the best time to do this is in the morning. 10-15 minutes. Me, like I prefer 15 to 20, but like start slow, start small, make a habit out of it, build up on it. But I promise you that you'll start to see incredible results as far as your anxiety is concerned. As if you're having sleep issues, if you're having concerns of any kind, or if you're just actively working through problems. I mean, it could be a problem at work, it could be a problem with your relationship, it could be a problem with family. You're seeking solutions, you're seeking answers, or maybe you're just looking for creativity and inspiration. It starts with finding those three S's and cultivating them, creating a space where you're by yourself, solitude. Okay? Creating a space where you're not disturbed. There's no sounds, where there's no external things disrupting you. Silence. So that way you can cultivate this principle, this skill of stillness. Because that's where your answers lie. And I'm going to record a meditation to get you guys there. I'm going to record a meditation. I'm going to post that look out for that. Definitely be putting it up on Instagram, Facebook, and everywhere else that I can imagine, just to get it out there. But it'll be one of many, because there's, again, just so many different ways to use meditation, use the breath, use the body to actually get yourself into these different altered states that will actually produce more flow in your life, more ease and effortlessness. Because who doesn't want that? So, uh, guys, look out for that. If you want just like a quick takeaway, a quick practice that you can absolutely definitely engage in, what I personally do, you can, I mean, actually look into the work of Emily Fletcher. I like her Ziva technique for this purpose because it's essentially a mantra-based meditation. And that's a great way to just get started. I think that's very accessible for a lot of people. Just kind of like finding first a place to sit, get quiet, and you pick a mantra, you pick a word or phrase that you continually just repeat in your mind. Repeating in your mind. And then your thoughts are going to go away. They're going to take you somewhere else. And then you're going to realize, oh, my thoughts took me somewhere else. And then you're very gently going to say, okay, coming back. And you just come back to repeating it gently. You're not trying to force it, right? It's not aggressive. It's finding compassion within yourself, realizing, hey, you're human. Your thoughts will naturally be there because that's what the mind does. It thinks. But it's about practicing the skill of coming back to a present stillness, the present now. Because this is where we act from, the now. And repeating that mantra over and over, eventually you really cultivate that skill. And I won't dive into necessarily what happens in terms of your brainwave activity. That could be a very entirely separate video. Probably will be, actually. Absolutely will be. Honestly, I just have so much I want to share with you guys. But with that, I leave you for today. Stillness, silence, solitude. Let that be your guiding principles, or create your own. But those work profoundly for me. And finding 5, 10, 15, ideally 20, but start with 5 minutes a day where you can do this. Make a habit out of it. And the morning is ideal, and the evening right before bed ideal, again, because that's also when your mind naturally, when you're waking up, you're going from delta, theta, alpha, beta, right? So you can catch yourself after you're waking up when you're still in that subconscious moving into conscious state. Same with when you're going to bed, you're moving from beta down into delta, and you can use that opportunity as well. So with that, you guys have an amazing, beautiful day. Wishing you much love, and peace.